Abhyasa and Vairagya are the two means to remove the vrittis. In the previous sutra, we understood what Abhyasa is and how taking up something consistently, doing it for a long period of time with enthusiasm, with a certain devotion, is Abhyasa. So what is Vairagya? There are so many texts that talk about Vairagya in different contexts. But what does the Yogasutra talk about Vairagya? Drishtanushravika vishaya vitrishnasya vashikara sanya vairagyam. Drishtanushravika vishaya vitrishnasya vashikara sanya vairagyam. Drishta, what is seen or perceived through the senses. Anushravika is basically what is derived or what is heard through the tradition or mentioned in the scriptures. Vishaya, the subject or the object of the enjoyment. Vitrishnasya, Vitrishna means free from desire or the thirst for something. Basically, free from the desire for enjoyment. Vashikara is bringing under one's control, mastery. Sanya is that definition. Vairagyam is, of course, dispassion, and that is what we are looking at. The mastery obtained by someone who has lost the desire for enjoying the objects of the senses, either those which are perceived, that is drishta, which are seen, or those are heard through the way of tradition. That is Vairagya. There is no desire to engage in what is seen or what is heard. So one sees something very beautiful. One is not carried away by that. And one hears about beautiful things. Like there is something called heaven. One can enjoy there if you do this. There are so many lokas. One can attain Brahma Loka, Shiva Loka, all that. But then even hearing about them, that does not create any desire in one's mind. Then it means that one lives with a certain detachment and dispassion. That word viraga is basically free from raga. Raga can also be looked at as a color, but raga can also be looked at as a certain preference and liking. So when we say Vairagya, it is being devoid of that particular raga. So here, Vairagya is not just looked at as some kind of a simple withdrawal from the objects of enjoyment, but it is looked at as a complete mastery over those aspects. Vashikara. It has complete control over those desires. Then that is Vairagya. So what does the Vyasa Bhashya say? When one has lost the desire for matters that can be seen, like women, in this particular context, he says women, or you can take it people of the other gender or a certain attraction, food, power, money, Aishwarya, or a certain prosperity, influence and affluence, as well as one has lost a taste for what one has just heard about in the scriptures in terms of attaining heaven or attaining states of Prakriti Laya or attaining states of consciousness that is mentioned in the tradition but we are not aware of directly through perception or our own perception, but we have just heard about it. Not focusing too much on them, but sticking to one's own path. That is Vairagya, where one is not carried away by all these things that we hear about and what we see. So, in fact, in Tamil, it is beautifully said, Kannal parpadum poi, Kadal kepadum poi, Tira visaripade mei. So, it means that what is seen is false, what is heard can also be false, but only what vichara is done upon can become the truth. So without being carried away by what one is seeing and one is hearing, but focusing on what one has taken up, that is Vairagya. So this Vashikara Sanya, where complete mastery over what is perceived and what is cognized, arises in different stages. First, we put in effort to understand the source or the cause of the problem. That is the first stage. And that is called Yatamana Sanya, where one puts in effort to understand the various causes of the problems that we are facing, which pushes us towards Vairagya. And once we identify these various causes of these problems that we face in life, then we move on to the next stage where we identify the essential causes and the non-essential ones. See, whenever we face any trouble in life, we ponder about it and think, okay, this could be the problem, this could be the problem, this could be the cause, and all that. We have like hundreds of things that we have identified. But then we think that we narrow down on a few things that we feel are the essential that we need to deal with. That is Vyatireka Sanya. Vyatireka Sanya means that we move on to the next stage where we ascertain that these are the essential things and these are the things to be ignored. Right? And once we do this, we again move on to the next aspect, which is Ekendriya, which is pertaining to the single sense, Eka Indriya, which is basically the mind. So we narrow down on, we eliminate the problems that arise because of the other senses, and then we focus on tackling the mind, Ekendriya Samya. Then we go on to the final stage of Vairagya, which is Vashikara Sanya, which is mentioned in the sutra. There is complete mastery over the primary causes of the difficulties, and there is a certain dispassion and detachment from them. Once we have narrowed down on the essentials, also started focusing on the mind, and now we have attained mastery over these elements, and that is Vairagya.